The metallic clang of that cheap Amazon chain slamming across the Marina gate at 6 a.m. Let me tell you, it sliced through the dawn like a war cry. Behind me, Karen's silk-robed guests were scrambling off her $300 a weekend yacht party, BMWs and Teslas peeling out like cockroaches when you flip the kitchen lights. And from her mansion deck bathrobe, flying slippers skidding. Karen Whitfield herself came charging, shrieking, "You can't lock us out. It's common property." Like the queen of the HOA yacht club just got evicted from her own kingdom. I turned legal folder in hand, and I'll admit I enjoyed the moment. Actually, Karen, maritime law just evicted your empire. Now this woman, this pharmaceutical tyrant who thought cash erased 40 years of family rights, was about to get a lesson she'd never forget. She tried to ban my wheelchair-bound Navy vet dad from his own dock. Had no idea she'd just yanked the pin out of a legal grenade. That 12-buck chain was about to unravel secrets that would sink her faster than a leaky pontoon. And honestly, what would you do if an HOA dictator tried to steal your family legacy? Drop your city in the comments and tell me about your own Karen nightmare. Stick around, because what happened next, it's the kind of trap every homeowner should know about. But let me back up a sec, because this war started before HOA drama was even a meme. My name's Marcus Donnelly, and I've been fixing boats since I was old enough to hold a wrench. This whole mess kicked off with a handshake deal my grandpa, Captain Joe Donnelly, made back in '83 with the original developer of Willow Creek Marina. $50 a month perpetual access filed with the county. Simple, honest. When Gramps passed in 2015, I got the cabin and that marina right just like he wanted. That floating dock with the smell of coffee and marine grease became my office. My dad, Captain Ray Donnelly, 72, retired Coast Guard, he moved in for good after his stroke, wheelchair and all. That dock wasn't just wood and nails to us. It was my dad's last connection to 3 decades of military service, his happy place. And then Hurricane Karen blew into town spring of 2022. You want to picture her 52 pharmaceutical sales manager, hair perfect, like she'd been shellacked at the dealership, always in white capris like she was judging a yacht parade. Karen rolls up in a pearl-white Escalade, drops $1.2 million cash for the biggest waterfront palace, and immediately proclaims herself president of the HOA. Within 3 months, she's got her little kingdom promising professional standards for our backward lake community. Translation: professional harassment. Her reign of terror started small. Mrs. Aurora's 40-year-old vegetable garden gone. Tomatoes looked unprofessional. William Foster's chess club pavilion access revoked over security concerns. Big Jim Patterson's fishing guide business shut down right after he questioned Karen's $500 monthly admin fees. You get the picture. Bullies always start petty, but they escalate. And Karen noticed my family using the marina free from her iron fist. Her eyes lit up like a slot machine jackpot. The showdown came one humid Tuesday. My dad rolls down to his favorite spot, where he taught half the county's kids to tie a boat knot, except today, orange traffic cones block his way. Karen materializes out of thin air, clipboard-clutched sandals, grinding the gravel like she's the boss at a department store. Sorry, she says, syrupy as a drug rep, but this is a private HOA facility now. You'll need to fish somewhere else. You should have seen Dad's face, 30 years Navy, getting told by a sales rep that he can't fish on the dock he basically helped build. Karen launches into her speech about new security policies, and Dad just says, voice hard as anchor chain. Ma'am, I've been using this dock since before your HOA existed. Karen just smirks. I don't care about ancient history. Show me current legal documents or you're trespassing. Next time I see you, I'm calling the sheriff. She actually threatened to have a disabled vet arrested for fishing. That night, I burned rubber straight to the county courthouse, dug through 3 hours of dust and old record books, and there it was, the original 1983 Riparian Rights Agreement, perpetual access, $50 a month. But here's the kicker nobody ever bothered collecting. Then I found something better. Karen's property survey fraudulent. That fancy pool deck sitting 15 feet onto HOA land. Miss Show Me Documents had been stealing community property for years. So I show Karen our riparian agreement. She tries to laugh it off. Ancient paperwork doesn't override community standards. I run this place now. That's when I knew she'd picked the wrong fight. Karen didn't waste time. 48 hours later, security shows up at the marina. Randy, the marina supervisor, scarfing down gas station hot dogs and blocking the dock with his folding chair. HOA members only. New policy. I'm holding a work order. I'm servicing the Hendersons' boat. They're HOA members. Not with outside contractors, you're not. He whips out a badge like he's in the Secret Service. Karen says only approved vendors now. I remembered what Grandpa always said about water rights, deep roots hard to cut. Time for a real lawyer. Ben Hayes 78 handled our original deal, smells like leather and legal victories. Riparian rights, he says, flipping open a fat law book filed before the HOA. Those are gold. Trump everything after. He scans Karen's deed stops. Her pool deck is way over the line. She's encroaching. Called my surveyor, Buddy Jake. Sure enough, 15 feet onto common property. Armed with ammo, I went back to Randy, handed him the agreement. This predates your HOA by 4 years. Randy looks at it like it's written in Klingon. Cue metal rigging clanking in the background. Then Karen sweeps up in a cloud of perfume demanding answers. Watching her read that agreement was like watching someone walk into a sliding glass door. Confusion, then denial, then hope no one saw. This is absurd. She sputters some ancient deal doesn't override modern standards. Actually, it does. Here's the lawyer's number. But Karen's not the backing down type. She goes nuclear. I'm calling the police. Deputy Martinez shows up, reviews the documents, listens to Karen rant about loopholes and favoritism, then shrugs, "Ma'am, this is civil." He's got access rights, not my department. Karen's face turns cherry red. She storms off swearing lawsuits. And that's when she made her biggest mistake. She doubled down. "Fine," she yells, nails tapping her clipboard like a crab. HOA board meets Thursday. We're voting on special security fees for non-resident marina users. $500 a month retroactive to January. Hope you like playing in our lake. I'll admit it felt like a win, but Karen's tone said she was just getting started. And thanks to her threat, I now had legal grounds to examine the HOA's books. When people get desperate to control money, there's usually something ugly hiding underneath. That Thursday, Karen runs her board meeting like it's a mob trial. The room smells like burnt coffee and fear. Gladys. The 65-year-old treasurer is shaking like a leaf. Todd Morrison's polishing his secretary badge. Emergency assessment, $500 a month. Retroactive to January. Motion to approve. 3 hands up. Karen, Todd, and poor Gladys, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Karen's smile was pure predator. But here's the twist. While Karen thought she'd trapped me, I'd filed an emergency injunction that morning. As she's savoring her win, my phone buzzes. Judge granted restraining order, no fee collection, no lock changes. Watching Karen read that court order, you'd think she'd stepped on a landmine. She shrieked about judicial harassment, but all I could do was smile. Courts exist to stop financial abuse, Karen. Our agreement caps it at $50. Not whatever you dream up. Here's what Karen never understood: when folks get crazy about money, they leave grease stains everywhere. Thanks to legal discovery, I got to see every HOA record. And what Gladys's terrified bookkeeping revealed made my inner mechanic pretty darn satisfied. Karen had been looting the HOA treasury like a pirate. $500 a month to herself as admin coordinator, a job that doesn't exist. $12,000 in consulting to her own company. $8,500 for landscaping all around her pool deck. Playgrounds falling apart, but her place pristine. So the next time Karen came swinging with her high-priced lawyer standing on the dock like Napoleon, she says, "We're countersuing for environmental damages from your boat." The irony, Karen the zoning violator accusing me of contamination. Fascinating theory, I said. By the way, how do you justify paying yourself $500 a month for nothing? Karen's confidence evaporated. HOA finances are board business. Not when they fund illegal fees. Courts hate self-dealing almost as much as they hate fraud. So Karen changed tactics. She started a whisper campaign around town telling folks I was laundering money, that Dad's boat business was criminal, accusing the hardware store owner of taking bribes. Her poison spread, but it backfired. Residents started talking, Mrs. Aurora William Foster, even shy Ashley Rodriguez, who told me she's been digging into your dad's medical records. Asked if I thought you were competent to own property. Karen wasn't fighting about Marina access. She was waging opposition research like some HOA J. Edgar Hoover. But here's where the plot really thickens. I dug into her so-called expert consultant Apex Marine Solutions. Turns out it's her brother-in-law Derek, who's never touched seawater in his life. His marine engineering is actually selling pharma equipment in Nebraska. His Marina assessment plagiarized. He copied sections about tidal considerations on a lake. So Karen launches her emergency environmental crisis, Sharpie markered, poster boards, wild claims, and Derek in a blazer nodding like he's seen the ocean. Complete infrastructure replacement, $600,000 minimum, and conveniently all our improvements gone. But Karen didn't count on Dad's 30 years of enforcing maritime regs. I called the state environmental office. Karen had filed complaints accusing us of illegal waste disposal, unlicensed fuel handling, systematic contamination, every charge a total fabrication. The inspector showed up, did 4 hours of testing, and declared, "This is the cleanest marina I've seen all year." Whoever filed this complaint has zero technical knowledge or is deliberately lying. Filing false complaints. That's criminal harassment. Karen's bluff was unraveling. Meanwhile, her surveillance campaign was falling apart. Her neighborhood spy Nancy Gilmore got caught littering the marina while investigating me. Residents started comparing stories. Karen told 3 different families 3 different lies about the emergency. William Foster started documenting contradictions. Our resistance grew, 8 families, then 15 each, bringing evidence. Ashley dropped the bombshell. Karen was photographing kids whose parents questioned her policies. Safety documentation, she claimed. In reality, paranoid targeting. That night I found Karen's ace dumpster diving after a board meeting, found her privatization plan, sell the whole marina to Premier Lake Club, pocket $3,000 a month plus bonuses. Turn our community marina into an exclusive yacht club for millionaires. But here's where Grandpa's prophecy came through. Buried in our agreement, a reversion clause. If the HOA ever tries to privatize all marina rights, revert to my family immediately. No appeals, no delays. I showed Ben Hayes. The old lawyer went quiet for a whole 30 seconds. Your grandpa was a genius. Karen's about to nuke herself. And the financials, HOA was hemorrhaging from an $87,000 deficit. Karen's theft. Old treasurer forced out for questioning her. Her own cousin Gladys installed a rubber stamp fraud. She'd been funneling funds, paying herself consulting to her own company, and beautifying her illegal deck. The Premier Lake Club money was her cover-up plan. But the best part, she'd never read the contract. She was so desperate to circumvent. She'd been so obsessed with squeezing us for fees, she missed the nuclear clause that would cost her everything. Time to let her walk into her own trap. We prepared Ben's office, a war room, forensic accountants dissecting years of records, 15 families, ready to testify. Janet, our accountant, highlighting systematic embezzlement, fraud, ghost contracts. Community outrage exploded. Residents realized their money paid for Karen's driveway and her cousin's landscaping. Facebook groups lit up. Local newspaper got involved. County commissioner agreed to attend her big gala. Karen planned her Marina Modernization Gala Country Club, Media Premier Lake Club Champagne. Her final act of arrogance. The night before, she tried to rush through an emergency vote, faking a budget apocalypse, charts everywhere, her voice trembling. We must privatize or the HOA goes bankrupt. But Ben triggered an emergency injunction for transparency violations. This meeting's illegal. Karen's panic was priceless. Then came the mini twist. Sarah Martinez, the bookkeeper Karen fired, stood up with evidence thick enough for a federal case. Before we privatize, let's see where the money really went. Sarah reads off 60 grand in self-payments, 37 in fake consulting landscaping for Karen's pool. Budget crisis. Karen's been using the HOA as her personal ATM. The crowd erupted. Karen tried to scream it was all forged, called us terrorists, accused us of bribing employees. And then her own cousin Gladys stood up. I can't support this. Karen threatened families spent funds illegally used community money for her luxury. Even her inner circle was done. The meeting collapsed into chaos. Karen fled white capris, flying like a dictator running from a revolution. Sunday, the gala, 200 residents, Channel 7 News, the county commissioner. Karen, in a suit that cost more than my truck, strides up, ready to crown herself queen. Premier Lake Club represents progress and prosperity. She beams. Then Sarah stands, manila folder in hand. Before we celebrate, let's talk about the theft, 123 grand, stolen by Karen Whitfield. The room explodes, questions fly, media snaps photos. Karen has a meltdown worthy of YouTube infamy, shrieking about conspiracies, accusing me of running a crime syndicate as Premier Lake Club executives slip out the back. That's when I stand up, folder raised. Actually, Karen, there's something about this privatization you missed. I read the reversion clause. Silence. Thanks to you, Karen, my family now owns the entire marina. The room goes dead quiet. Karen freezes, then explodes, lunging at me, screaming about federal crimes until Deputy Martinez steps in. She's dragged out of her own gala mascara, running her empire in ruins, every camera rolling. Within 72 hours, I'd filed the new ownership papers. The DA launched a criminal investigation. Karen's pharmaceutical company put her on leave, and the community finally breathed again. First thing I did, lowered Marina fees back to $50. Spontaneous applause. Mrs. Aurora was elected interim HOA president, her homemade cookies filling the room as folks finally relaxed. No more fear, no more secrets, no more Karen, she announced, and the community healed. Dad got his fishing spot back, teaching kids knots, telling Coast Guard stories. Our dock, once a battleground, became a place of laughter. We launched the Captain Ray Donnelly Veterans Fishing Program, serving dozens of disabled vets with free maintenance fuel and gear. What Karen tried to steal became something greater. 43 veterans served in Year 1 expansion planned. Karen's cautionary tale spread statewide. Her guilty plea on 17 counts led to prison. Her mansion sold to pay restitution. Derek's fake credentials got exposed. His company collapsed. Neighboring HOAs adopted our transparency reforms, and Sarah Martinez became our permanent bookkeeper. Every dime accounted for every project public. Most satisfying. Seeing people reclaim their lives. William Foster's chess club. Ashley Rodriguez's kids learning boating safety, even Randy finding honest work. The feds built cases on Karen's consulting network, using our evidence as ground zero for a wider cleanup. But you know what mattered most? The sound of a peaceful lake, families no longer afraid to speak up. As I sit here now on the dock where my grandpa made that first handshake deal, watching sunset paint the water gold, I realize bullies only win when good people stay silent. Karen thought money and intimidation could rewrite 40 years of tradition. Instead, she learned that legacy, community, and decency aren't for sale. They're earned one honest act at a time. So what do you think? Does justice look like? Revenge, or is it something quieter? A lake at peace, neighbors sharing cookies, and a community breathing free? Drop your thoughts below. Share your own HOA stories, and if you believe in fighting for what's right, hit that like and subscribe. Your voice might just be the next ripple that changes everything.